It's a pleasure to have you once again this evening on the link. And we have stuck with you throughout the year. Thank you for sticking with us throughout the year. And we hope we have benefited you greatly during the year as we bring to you information that you can use, but also information that bears opportunity, especially for your business. And tonight we're discussing mobile money. There are new regulations to protect the consumers. Perhaps you didn't know, or perhaps you've just heard of it. In the studio, I have the man who is in charge of that docket. And this is Mr. Mackay Aomu, who is Director National Payment System in the Bank of Uganda. Welcome.
Thank you, Sam. Happy to be here again.
Absolutely, yeah. You are here to give us information as usual concerning that big animal called mobile money.
Mobile money.
Yeah.
True.
So there are these new regulations to protect the consumers. First of all, before we go to them, tell us what was the thinking behind the central bank and therefore the government's move to establish these regulations?
Thank you, Sam, and listeners and viewers. It would take me long to dig from where we came from,
Yeah.
but I will take a shortcut. You know, for many years, since 1999, since 2009,
yeah,
we regulated mobile money activities using what we call the no objection letters, which was like indirect supervision by the central bank through the commercial banks.
yeah,
And so in 2020, we got a new law enacted, which is the National Payment Systems Act 2020. When you have a law, to implement it, you need what they call implementing regulations.
yeah.
So this is what we've been doing. First, we had to do licensing regulations so that we could be able to license new players. As we speak now, I've licensed 20 service providers,
Okay.
22 service providers. So then we had to do agent regulations because these organizations or payment service providers deal with agents.
Yes.
Then again, we had to do what we call regulatory sandbox regulations because it was provided in the law. So the law will cover many things, but for you to be able to implement the law, you need implementing regulations.
Okay.
So recently, we enacted or gazetted what we call consumer protection regulations.
Okay.
And the question you ask is because having got into the real supervision of this newly licensed payment service providers, we see many issues, many concerns that touch on the consumers, complaints, failed transactions, misleading information. And so it becomes unfair practices.
Yeah.
So the central bank has a responsibility of protecting the consumers. And you know, this cuts across the whole country. Mobile money is in every part of this country.
Absolutely.
So it was important that we protect the consumers across the country.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, going to these regulations, what are the key? I know there could be several, but what are the key we can discuss tonight?
Key issues in the regulations.
Yes.
First, make it easier. I would look at the payment service provider and then the customer.
Okay.
But again, when you go back to the payment service provider, usually there's a board, then there's management. So the law spells out the responsibilities of the board. But before that, the first thing is that there's a requirement to put in place a consumer protection policy. A consumer protection policy, like any other policy, will have roles and responsibilities.
That is each company.
Each of the 22 that we have licensed should have a consumer
protection policy.
So now when we talk about the board, the role of the board first is to ensure that they approve that policy, consumer protection policy.
Okay.
Then they have to oversee its implementation and compliance as required by the central bank.
Okay.
So when you come to management, management needs to look at the whole business, the whole enterprise, mechanism for handling complaints, coordinating complaints, and working out redress mechanisms. Yes.
Okay.
And then there's the last aspect, which is about reporting. They are required to report monthly by 15th of the next month.
Okay.
Complaints that have come through, how they were handled, and the central bank must be informed of those.
Say that again slowly. Because I'm a consumer, I'm excited. Say that again. What should they do?
There's a monthly reporting requirement. This is now November ending.
Okay.
So by 15th December, they should submit to the central bank a report of complaints that we received in November and how they were addressed,
Okay.
and all that information.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
should be submitted to the central bank.
So, if I report an issue of mine to a telecom,
Yes.
mobile money, the mobile money side.
Yeah, they call them payment service providers.
I know for the sake of the viewers.
Yes.
the telecom company who does mobile money, and it's expected that they must tell the central bank.
Yes.
That's how they handled. What happens if they did not handle?
Oh, that takes us actually now like the consumer.
Yes.
If the central bank okay, let me come from the beginning.
Yeah.
When you have a problem, a complaint, you are supposed to put it to the service provider, the telecom in this mobile money company in this case.
Absolutely.
And preferably in writing. And the company, service provider is supposed to give you a feedback,
Okay.
respond to your case. If you are not satisfied with that complaint, then you are supposed to escalate it to the central bank.
Okay.
Now, the public out there, the law is very generous here. You are given up to 30 days to report the complaint.
Okay.
And when this was discussed, it was because the mobile money, like I said, covers the whole country.
The whole country, yeah.
So if you are in Koboko, where maybe your complaint to reach head office may take a longer time, so we gave generous 30 days so that it doesn't rot. You can still find
You don't give up.
avenue. Yes. On our side, as the central bank, once the issue is escalated to us, we gave ourselves 21 days
Okay.
to respond. Also giving a lot of allowance because we may need to consult
Investigate,
here and there, and to be fair to the consumer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, very, very, very good. So, the turnaround time for any complaint, generally, if it reaches the central bank, is like 50 days.
Okay, from the consumer first submitting,
Yes.
we gave 30 days to give allowance for complaints from different parts.
Supposing,
but that's the maximum. You can bring it earlier.
If I submit to a company,
yes,
how long how long is it expected for them to respond to me?
they are given 2 weeks to come back to you.
That's very important.
Yes.
14 days they should get back to me.
Yes. Then if you are not satisfied,
Yes.
then you escalate it to the central bank.
Okay.
The central bank, of course, will also review it on merit. You have to do it in writing and submit necessary documentation to support your case.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any limit to the complaints I can raise, or anything can be raised?
I think it depends now on the materiality, how material is the complaint.
Yes.
Or is there laws involved? Yes. And we hope that the service providers are fair enough to give good responses, and some of those don't have to be escalated.
Okay.
Yes.
I know some people, Mr. Mackay, they may be saying, okay, I got the telecom, they don't, and how do I come to you, central bank, if I'm not happy with these guys, with these companies? What do I do to reach you?
Yeah, we're open, we have an open policy. You can seek to see the people I work with.
Okay.
That's the National Payment Systems Department,
Okay.
which I'm in charge as a director. You can seek audience with me as well.
Okay.
But I think most importantly, you can write, and Bank of Uganda doesn't lose any documents. That reception is very open. When you submit a letter or whatever document is received and recorded and it's directed to the right place.
Okay.
And then we get back to you.
So even if I go to a regional office of Bank of Uganda, it will still come?
It will reach the headquarters.
Okay.
You can go to the nearest, of course. I think that's a very good observation you make. So if you're in Jinja, we have presence in Jinja.
Yeah.
If you're in Mbale, we have presence in Mbale. Central Bank has presence in Lira.
I saw Masaka.
Also in Gulu, in Masaka, in Kabale, in Fort Foto, in Barara. So quite spread.
Yeah.
I think you can reach one of those, and those will send your request at no cost to you.
Yeah.
It will already be within the bank.
Absolutely. Finally, anything that the regulations bring out, anything more in terms of my responsibility now as a consumer, in maybe a minute?
Yeah, now what I didn't mention is about the need to do awareness campaigns.
Yes.
It's also mandated in the regulations by the service providers.
Okay.
And also issues of fairness, and even in terms of sales, in terms of marketing, providing the right information. So And of course, the freedom, you know, like you see the sector, like just like we have banks.
Yes.
You are free to move from maybe one service provider
to another.
Compare things and make the right
it's
decisions.
Your right.
The additions. But of course, I think the bigger one is the issue of personal protection of what is yours.
Yes.
Like your name now is becoming very important. Your national ID is as good as gold now.
Yeah.
Protect it, and protect it.
Okay.
Then when you have those pins that you use to access your phone, protect it, and protect it.
Okay.
Similar to your bank account, your ATM, all those things you need to protect
pins.
them. But I think the most important of all is what I've already said. When you have a problem, do not keep quiet with it. Go to the nearest service provider. And then if you are not understood or if you are not satisfied with the response, escalate it to the central bank in writing. But you know, when we look at mobile money, 90 plus actually are the people really at the bottom of small money.
Absolutely.
Up to 50,000. So it is really important that we come into with this kind of regulations to protect the small people at the grassroots level. But we have also advocated to the likes of MTN, Airtel to spread out to the countryside.
Okay.
So now they have regional offices where they try to reach people and try to give disseminated information.
Yeah.
Because there are many crooks out there.
Absolutely. Buffet. Before we go, in 10 seconds, where can I find a copy of the guidelines if I just want to familiarize myself with them?
For you, I will give you a copy after this.
Oh, of course. But
but for the ordinary person,
yeah.
Usually it's the Uganda bookstore, what's called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uganda bookshop.
Uganda bookshop.
Oh, okay.
Because we have a centralized publishing.
All right. Thank you so much, yes. Mr. Mackay Aomu. We realize, viewers, that they have details. Those regulations have details there. And you can buy a copy for yourself from a Uganda bookshop. I do hope soon there will be maybe online where you can access this so that you know your rights.
That's also true.
But the telecoms or the service providers are mandated to make you know about it. But in case they don't, please get to know your rights so that you are protected. That was the link. Thank you for joining us tonight.